My girlfriend broke up with me out of the blue. She said her friends convinced her that she is out of my league and deserves someone better. Now she wants to come back. I remember the day like it was yesterday. My name is Alex, and until a few months ago, I thought I had everything figured out. My girlfriend, Emma, and I had been together for almost 2 years, and I genuinely believed we were solid. We shared countless memories, dreams, and a bond one thought was unbreakable. Weekends were our sacred time. Whether we were exploring new hiking trails or binge-watching our favorite shows, it felt like nothing could come between us. But life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them. Despite the occasional argument, like any other couple, I never saw any real signs of trouble. That's why I was completely blindsided when Emma sat me down one evening, her face serious and her eyes avoiding mine. As she began to speak, a knot formed in my stomach. Little did I know my world was about to be turned upside down. Emma took a deep breath and said, "Alex, we need to talk." My heart started racing. I could tell this wasn't just a typical conversation. She looked down at her hands and then back up at me, her eyes filled with an emotion I couldn't quite place. "I think we should break up," she finally said. Felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. I couldn't comprehend her words at first. "What? Why?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She sighed and looked away, gathering her thoughts. "It's not you," she began, and I couldn't help but roll my eyes internally at the cliché. "My friends have been talking to me a lot lately, and they've made me realize that, well, I deserve someone better, someone more on my level. They think I'm out of your league." The words stung more than I could have ever imagined. I sat there, stunned, trying to process the fact that the girl I loved was leaving me because her friends thought she could do better. I sat there in disbelief, the words echoing in my mind. Out of your league. It felt surreal, like a bad dream I couldn't wake up from. "Emma, do you really believe that?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked conflicted, her eyes darting between me and the floor. "I don't know, Alex. They've just been planting these ideas in my head. They keep saying I could find someone who fits better into my world, someone who meets their standards." I could see the confusion and doubt in her eyes. It was like she was torn between what she felt and what her friends had convinced her to believe. "But Emma, what about us? What about everything we've been through together?" I pleaded, hoping to make her see reason. She sighed deeply, shaking her head. "I don't know, Alex. Maybe they're right. Maybe I've been settling." Those words cut deeper than any knife could. Felt like she was slipping away, and I was powerless to stop it. When Emma left, I felt like a hollow shell. The apartment seemed eerily quiet, filled with the ghost of her absence. I sat alone, staring at the empty space where she had been just moments before, trying to grasp what had just happened. The pain was a sharp, throbbing ache in my chest. I spent the rest of the night tossing and turning, replaying every moment of our relationship in my mind, searching for clues that I might have missed. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and sadness. I threw myself into work, hoping that keeping busy would help me forget. But no matter how hard I tried, every corner of my life seemed to remind me of her. Our favorite coffee shop, the little trinkets she left behind, even the songs we used to listen to together. It felt like every part of my routine was now tainted by her absence, and I struggled to find a sense of normalcy again. As the weeks passed, I found myself grappling with a lot of introspection. I couldn't help but question my own worth, wondering if I had truly been the cause of our breakup. Emma's reasons, though hurtful, made me reflect on our relationship and my own self-image. Was I really the problem? Or had her friends' opinions skewed her view of what we had? I started to understand how external influences could sometimes overshadow genuine feelings. It wasn't just about her friends. It was also about how I had allowed their opinions to seep into our lives. I wondered if, despite our connection, I hadn't done enough to make her feel secure or valued. This reflection was painful but necessary, as it forced me to confront my insecurities and consider whether I was truly the partner I aspired to be. During this tumultuous time, I leaned heavily on my family and friends for support. My best friend, Mark, was especially there for me. offering a listening ear and a distraction from my spiraling thoughts. We spent hours talking over coffee or just hanging out, and his advice helped me see things from a different perspective. Sometimes people just let external voices dictate their choices, he said, trying to offer comfort. My family also rallied around me, providing both emotional support and practical help. My mom made sure I was eating properly, and my dad tried to lift my spirits with his usual humor. Their unwavering presence was a steadying force, reminding me that even though Emma was gone, I still had a network of people who cared deeply for me. Their support was crucial in helping me process the breakup and begin to heal. Moving on asterisk. As time went by, I began focusing on myself and my own well-being. I started picking up old hobbies and trying new ones, finding solace in activities I had neglected. I reconnected with my passion for painting, which had always been a source of peace for me. Joining a local hiking group also became a therapeutic escape, giving me both a fresh perspective and a chance to meet new people. Gradually, I started to see a shift in my mindset. What once felt like an overwhelming void began to fill with new experiences and personal growth. I learned to appreciate my own company and realized that I could find fulfillment outside of the relationship. It wasn't easy, and there were still moments of sadness, but the journey towards self-discovery was proving to be both healing and empowering. As I was settling into my new routine, I received a message from Emma. My heart skipped a beat as I saw her name on my phone screen. I hesitated before opening it, unsure of what to expect. The message was simple but carried a weight I wasn't prepared for. "Can we talk? I've been thinking a lot lately." We agreed to meet at a coffee shop, a place that once held so many memories for us. When Emma arrived, she looked different, more uncertain and vulnerable than I remembered. We exchanged pleasantries, but it was clear that the underlying tension was palpable. I braced myself for what she had to say, knowing that whatever it was would shape the next chapter of our lives. Emma took a deep breath and began. "I've had a lot of time to think since we broke up. I've been reflecting on everything, and I realize now that my friends' opinions shouldn't have held so much sway over me. They were quick to judge, but they didn't understand our relationship the way I did." She continued, her voice trembling slightly. "I've missed you, Alex. I've missed us. I've come to see that our connection was something special, and I regret letting outside voices influence my decisions. I've been trying to find a way to make things right and to show you that I've changed my perspective." Hearing her admit this was a mix of relief and confusion. On one hand, it was comforting to know she had been thinking about us. On the other, I was torn between wanting to believe her and questioning whether things could truly be different this time. As Emma spoke, I found myself grappling with a whirlwind of emotions. Her words brought back memories of what we once had, but they also raised new questions. Could I trust that her feelings had genuinely changed? Was it wise to reopen a chapter that had been closed? Or was it better to protect myself from potential heartache? I weighed the pros and cons in my mind. On one hand, I still cared deeply for Emma and the idea of rekindling our relationship was tempting. On the other, I had worked hard to rebuild my life and find my own sense of stability. Could I risk falling back into old patterns or, worse, getting hurt again if things didn't work out? The decision felt monumental, and no matter which way I leaned, I knew it would have a lasting impact on my emotional well-being. After much contemplation and several heartfelt conversations with friends and family, I decided to take things slow. I needed to understand if Emma's change of heart was genuine or if it was just a temporary reaction to her regrets. We agreed to start with casual meetups, focusing on rebuilding our friendship before jumping into anything more serious. In those initial meetings, I looked for signs of real change in Emma. We talked openly about our past issues and what we both needed moving forward. As weeks passed, it became clear that while Emma was making an effort to address her mistakes, the dynamics between us were different. The connection was there, but it wasn't the same as before. Ultimately, I chose to end our renewed attempt at a relationship. It wasn't an easy decision, but I realized that some parts of our past were better left there. I needed to move forward with the understanding that our time together had ended for a reason, and that accepting it was part of my own healing process. Looking back on everything, I can see how much I've grown through this experience. The pain of the breakup and the confusion of Emma's return were challenging, but they taught me valuable lessons about self-worth and resilience. I've learned that relationships, while important, don't define my entire sense of identity or happiness. I've come to appreciate the strength I found within myself during this period. It wasn't just about moving on from Emma, but also about recognizing my own needs and boundaries. Life continues to unfold, and while I'm open to new possibilities, I now approach them with a clearer understanding of what I want and deserve. This chapter of my life was tough, but it ultimately led to a deeper self-awareness and a renewed sense of hope for the future.